Oh wow, he's born in the 40s. Yeah, he's almost 80.
Damn.
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna type Robert Crumb, the infamous cartoonist of chonky women sniffing butts of chonky women. um, I'm honestly not a huge fan of Crumb, but I do find him interesting.
I'm a pretty I he's another person where his it's just some of his images are so striking that he's made that are just like incredible to me. And I just have to be in awe of them. They're just like so just, as a whole, yeah, he's not my favorite, but I just have a lot of respect for him
Yeah, absolutely. He's like a really cool artist.
for sure. It'd be
Um,
interesting to type his partner too. What's her name? Sometime I forget her.
Alini or
Yeah,
Alini Mansky Crumb or something. Kaminsky, I don't know. And his
yeah,
like
that's right.
his daughter's also like a cartoonist, right?
I don't know.
Sophie Crumb, yeah. Okay. His daughter. Yeah, we could do the whole family.
Good.
Oh my God. Okay, so we don't know his type yet. We're thinking he could be a creepy five or maybe a six, but maybe probably five. He might have some of the creepy fixes. We're entertaining things right now. I mean, he does look like a five in the sense that he fits the nerd, like absolute.
Definitely one of my best friends is a five, and he looks just like Robert Crumb.
Your vigor for life appalls me. Okay, well,
I was such an outsider. I was so alienated when I was young that drawing was like my only connection to society. It was the thing that was going to like the only thing I could see that was going to save me from a really dismal fate of God knows what, so a complete and total loser. I couldn't do anything else. I had no others.
all right. Okay, this was why I was like toying around with 6'4" before now, because yeah, he's like very negatively identified to himself
Oh,
with this.
very. He's extremely neurotic, like extremely. There's like self-hating, but it feels kind of like he's identifying. It feels like attachment need, like he's attached to that presentation of it because it's so ingrained in his art and in his image. Like it feels very like it feels very intentional in a way, but maybe not. I don't know, but that's how it feels.
Yeah. Hmm.
Skills, no social skills were completely nil when I was young. Gradually learned over the years how to relate to people better. I was young, I had a lot of problem with that. So drawing, thinks okay, and also then I had this fucked up ego. One side, this narcissistic, I'm a great artist, yada yada. On the other hand, I'm completely inept, fuck up, on the other side, so there was that too, so I've got to leave my mark on this earth and as a great artist and get it. I had that when I was young, very strongly actually. It drove me because the other side was so powerful too, the negative self-image, so I didn't understand this at the time that I had these two sides to me that that's all figured out all later on, and the only way I could do it.
This is interesting. He's dropping like yeah, he's dropping buzzwords of kind of 6 and 4, but he's so nerdy. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, my bad. No, yeah, I was saying 6'4" space, what he just said, for sure. Like almost like literally directly saying, oh, on this side 4 and this side 6, it's like I'm narcissistic. I know I'm the best artist, but then I'm like self-hating and blah blah blah. Yeah, so it's like that was kind of funny how he just like summed that up.
Maybe he has a one wing two fix. Like,
You think?
I wonder because I'm like he's like you pointed out, he's got like that creep factor that's sort of in that 1 2 2 1 space, but Um,
Does, but it's less so as he's older, actually. It's more so. I mean, this is a different situation, I guess, because it's an interview, and honestly, this sounds really stupid, but I think the beard hides the creep factor a little bit. Like, like it's more so when there's that mustache. I don't know. There's something about the John Waters and Robert like that's just like I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but it just that's a choice. That's a clear choice to have that, and it it adds to that for
he
sure.
seems he seems very much like a head type though. Like he seems very
Hmm.
um and his very expressive face. Huh.
He's got a skull face,
Yeah. So that could be one fix then. Because I
and
think like
John Waters does too.
oh right. Because I think one fix can make you very spindly, like very
Hmm.
some people anyway.
It was by just spending all my time on artwork and just you know, working on that craft constantly. You know, I had nothing else. I really had nothing else. Being born in 1943, and I came of age in the 50s.
I think seven had no.
I don't give maybe or like
No,
6.7 or
because
like
he's very similar to he likes collecting people. He likes the weird sort of like and he's obviously very like I get seven from him. I do. I don't know. I
I
would
mean
think, but five maybe two. That's interesting.
Like Jules Pfeiffer, if you know his work, a little more personal. And I was very inspired by uh, Harvey Kurtzman's satire and all that. So you start to feel your way. It was cartooning comic books up to that time, a very low grade medium. You had superheroes, and then you had funny animal characters, and you had Archie teenage comics and war comics, crime comics, science fiction comics. There wasn't anything really like uh, in the comic book world that was a personal artistic expression of the artist himself. It just didn't exist. It wasn't there. And being a comic book artist was the lowest level of commercial art. Comic book artists were embarrassed to admit that that's what they did for a living in those days. But being an outcast and alienated person, and feeling my way and my ego, I thought, I'll push toward a more personal use of this medium. And then
yeah, this seems super four fixed.
It does absolutely. He yeah yeah. It is very yeah. There's some two at play though too, but the four fix is probably stronger than the two fix.
Well, if his gut is a one wing two or something, like also one if you have one with four or one with six, it makes it like way more whiny
and
Maybe it's six wing five.
yeah, it could be six wing five. Could be like what is Woody Allen six wing five? He has a kind of Woody Allen-y sort of
Yeah, but he's not as like Woody Allen has a little bit of like a pathetic, like you want to give him a hug. I feel like the tooth fix is strong. I don't know. Like
Woody Allen hug.
Woody Allen has more of a wimpy like vibe to him. I don't think Crumb has that as much.
I don't know, kind of wimpy. Well,
Yeah.
okay. He's a bit younger in this one. Kind of always looks like an old man though, so that does pull away
Is this
from.
from the movie Crumb? Yeah, he definitely looks like an eternal old man, for sure.
Well, my name is Robert Crumb, and this is my wife, Aileen. We're underground cartoonists.
On the surface, our life appears to be really quaint and charming.
Yes, doesn't it? But underneath, it's a steaming cauldron of sexual perversion, drugs, and twisted neurosis.
Robert Crumb kreeg halverwege de jaren 60 bekendheid als pionier van de zogenaamde underground strip.
Maybe there's something wrong with me. Sometimes I really think I have some sort of deep genetic defect or something, some kind of mutation. I didn't turn out normal. That's why I have all this contempt and everything like that. But
I mean, this is kind of pushing me back to 6 again.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Six
sixes
and
with
5.
4s like are the ones who really loudly hate themselves.
Oh, and he hates him. Like it's very that's in his work, that's in his interviews, is very like prominent. I feel like 6'5" makes sense, actually.
Could be.
Or what about 5'6"? Do you think there's a case for that?
I feel like I don't think a 5 core would be as openly seen
Open.
as a rejection type. Like I don't think that
Yeah.
they would be.
He's really open. You're right about like just hit, and he's very analytic. Like he's very like, oh, in the Crumb documentary, that he goes very into like, oh, I think I do these things because in the 4th grade I was attracted to this woman, and it's like, kind of like a crazy tangent, but it's like, okay, maybe, but like he's very like he seems to like self-analyze a lot, which
Yeah.
feels not 5-ish to me necessarily.
Yeah, he
Or
feels.
it's not to publicly do that.
Yeah, like I always think about 6'4" as like very self-lacerating, and he's just like the embodiment of that. I think that like 6'4" 9" was what I was thinking he was a while back. But I could actually almost see a 1 wing 2 gut fix from what you said, because there is something twee and simpy and like, you know, sacrificial lammy, like kind of about him. Like
I could see that for sure. Yeah.
guess we
And
can.
he does have a moral sort of, he does sort of have that thing that I associate with William Burroughs and John Waters, where, I mean, just look at him. There's something like, there is sort of a one-ish tinge to him. I can't quite put my finger on it in like words, but he has a sort of upright stiffness I associate with 1. So 1 for the gut fix kind of really does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of like insecty too. Like
For sure. Yes. He's extremely, and he's got all 3 of them have that skull face kind of thing their entire lives.
I feel like he's so fucking horny that like
Yeah, I know.
his whole thing is like that it could almost be social sexual or like social blind.
but self-hatred is a strong motivating force in my work. Not to mention my sex drive.
Robert, stop whining already. It's repulsive. You got it good.
You're right.
Ew.
I'm attracted to the big, strong women, this physically superior type, this powerful, all-American brat girl.
Oh yeah, this is 6. Oh, gross. I could see this having 2 influence again too. 6-2. 6 with 1 and 2 and 4. Oh god, that's repulsive.
Is quite a bit. All of them are in top physical condition.
I mean, you could argue wing 7 if he's into like the titty thing.
I don't think wing 7. I think it's definitely 5.
Even if he had a 4-5 fix.
Maybe maybe the 4, it's the 5, 4 and the 5, and then a 7, because he does have a weird sort of like, I don't know, that 7 sort of like people like, he has his like tentacles out, all these weird sort of like collecting things that 7s definitely do, or 7 fixes will do. Yeah. Which, like the Crumb documentary, he's just like, he definitely, you can tell he likes being around people who are like weird or just like not the same life as him. And so I could see 7, yeah. Because I forgot that the 4 fix would allow, it would bring that, because he definitely has a 5 over a 3 for his 4, for sure.
Take Aileen here, for instance. She goes to these dance classes and aerobic exercise things, and her body is unbelievable. Things it can do,
Oh,
right?
oh. Kind of like decide. I'm like, obviously he is sexual in his stacking. So is it his playground or is it his dominant? Social sexual is gross.
I think
SPSX.
I think he's pretty gross.
Yeah, he's super gross. So I don't think he's sexual social. So I think he would either be like social sexual, SXSP, or SPSX.
I think it's maybe SPSX, just because even though he's self-preserving in a way where it's like, I'm going to let you know about all the bad things about me up front because I need you to know, and I need to like just like, it's like the way he talks about himself, it is a weird way of like protection, he's like, this is how I am, and give or take, like he's not, he is ashamed to a degree, but like he definitely is like proud of the shame. I feel like, I don't, in a weird way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose I am a sexist. I've tried to raise my consciousness, God knows. I have this recurring vision that I'm standing before this tribunal of feminist women, and they're demanding that I answer for my exploitation of women in my cartoons. And the only answer I have is that I'm telling the truth about myself, for better or worse.
Oh yeah, this is more just loud, sick stuff. This is like, and like six is like, love the idea of being punished. Probably more so with a one wing or a one fix too, and four probably.
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
The bitter irony for me is that, in spite of all the feminist consciousness raising and all that's going on, most women still are drawn to the powerful, dominant alpha male type, and that's not the kind of guy I am at all. I'm still just basically a shy wimp. So people wonder why I'm bitter.
But you keep telling us about it, which is very unattractive.
My father was an archetypical tough American kind of guy. He was a career in the Marines. I remember that my father was very bewildered by the fact that all three of his sons were wimps and sissies. All three of us used to get beat up in school. I remember getting beat up by a girl when I was in third grade. She broke my glasses. I went home crying. And all three of us, me and my two brothers, were rejected by the Army as inferior specimens for one reason or another. My poor father finally just gave up on us. We were hopeless. I think it kind of broke his heart. Had these three useless sons.
These matches all filled with love. The telephone calls, the tied up the lines for hours and hours.
My parents sent us to Catholic school. My father.
It's like it's like his stuff is sort of orgiastic, almost like this sort of gross, like pile of gross chubby chicks or something. And the stuff does feel very dense.
I know there's so much going on. Like you could look at one image and just like he puts so much in that detail. Like it's insane. His detail. Will you click on that image up there? It's in the above the one that's highlighted. I love that one. It's so like, just look like what's going on here is so like incredible.
This one?
Yeah.
The little guy that lives inside my brain. Yeah, that's more sexy kind of. He yearned for a life of quiet study, high above the veil of tribulation and tears. Yeah, could be SPSX. And that may be making him seem even more gross and grimy and
Yeah. Yeah.
like, yeah, and I guess like his social commentary is more focused on himself. It's like,
Oh, it's for sure. Yeah. Or at least through like his lens of himself or whatever.
and then it's just like hot women that he wants to molest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because there is something weirdly like I've just noticed, this is just me, but there's something kind of like SP Dom guys can be sort of somewhat like dehumanizing, I think, on some level towards women. So
He is definitely.
yeah, where it's just like a warm body or something. It's kind of probably worse with the SX where it's just, yeah, his stuff is pretty dense. Like you have to be looking. Yeah, okay, I could get with like SPSX for him.
Yeah, that feels right. That does feel like pretty spot on. I don't really think anything other fits as well as that, personally.
Like he's not really doing much with objects, but he's almost turned women into objects. So
Well, he doesn't view, especially he doesn't really treat women like anything but sort of things to play and draw with, and things for like like a something for him to play with in a weird way. I'm not even saying real life. Like I think he obviously like knows how to have, or he has had relationships with women, but in his art, they are definitely like images and ideas for him to play with, and they don't feel like people are representations of characters at all.
mm. Yeah, and I feel like if he was sexual dom, he would be really like trying to make himself more appealing. I know that even if like typologically that would impact how he's showing up, but he's definitely not like doing any kind of real displays other than I'm a little pervert and I want to be treated like a gross little baby pervert.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Ugh, God. I have to shower after this.
When I listen to old music, that's one of the few times I actually have a kind of a love for humanity. You're the best part of the soul of the common people, it's their way of expressing their connection to eternity, or whatever you want to call it. Modern music doesn't have that calamitous loss that people can't express themselves that way anymore. Father was an atheist, but he liked the discipline that the Catholic school inflicted on the children. He thought that was good for you, the way the nuns were. I tried very hard actually to be a good boy, and it was always very rewarding to get a pat on the head from those nuns. I had
Ugh.
heavy Catholic guilt.
And it seems
Just more sexy stuff, more
That was such a sick sentence.
I could see him having triple super ego and his maybe he's like one wing two second or something.
Me and my brother, older brother Charles, kind of lost ourselves in comics, and then we started drawing our own comics. Sometimes we would play out little dramas with our teddy bears. I still had my teddy bear when I was 12. My father finally had to throw it away.
and from that moment on, dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return.
Up till I was about 15 years old, I was a very repressed, prudish type of little boy. And then when puberty hit me, I was shocked. Suddenly, my sexual libido awoke with a demonic intensity. I didn't know what to make of it. I couldn't deal with it at all. I became obsessed with girls. And my first great lust, I remember in the summer of 1956, was Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. She was this striking blonde Amazon on this jungle TV show. I used to anxiously await going to bed at night so that I could have fantasies about Sheena.
Oh, yeah, and the whole like he's little and there are these big Amazonian women that he rides around on, and it's just so grotesquely sick. So it's like, like, oh,
Yeah, and he's like so he's not proud, but he's just like so into it. Like it's but it's very like attachy to that. He's like, I've been like this since I was a child. Like as a baby, I've always wanted a big, beautiful woman to straddle.
I guess actually I haven't changed all that much, really. Still have basically the same attitudes that I had then about women. They're just a little more worked out and more elaborate. Now I want to share with you my appreciation for what I consider the ideal female figure. You step over here, please. Move your coat. Thank you. Now, first, let me just say hair and skin color are completely irrelevant. She could be any race.
this is so bizarre. Yeah, because he
Um,
has like it's almost like this self-righteousness about his perversion. It's like he's
yes,
just
he does. He's not ashamed at all. It's yeah, that's a good point.
This ideal woman of mine. Now, breasts are not a big point with me. Big ones are nice, but I can take them or leave. Now here, this is a very important feature. This forward pelvic tilt. I call it the bean effect. If you look at an ordinary,
yeah, and this is also very SP. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, what the fuck is this?
It's so fucking weird for no like why is he doing this?
I'm trying to like just think about 6'7" versus 6'5". Like 6'5s are more like Scroogey and withholding, and 6'7s are more ping pongy and splashy. But
He's not super splashy. I mean, he is though. I guess he is. Yeah, he kind of is because even the way he dresses, like he's going for a certain like look, like a kind of reminded me. He kind of dresses like John Waters in the sort of like the suits and the hat. But he's like the only person I've ever seen make that. It like works. It definitely fits him well. Like it doesn't like when Chuck Palahniuk dresses like this, it's like kind of misses sometimes. Like he's playing, you can tell he's playing, but like when he does it, you can tell this is like his second skin. Like this is just how he's gonna do it.
I mean, he is kind of insecty. But he has that seven thirst though, to me, like that ravenous sort of
Do
titties.
do you not think that could just be the sexual component?
Maybe.
That's what I was thinking. But
the bean effect. The head up here. The legs are in back of the upper torso, just like this woman's fine form. Absolutely marvelous. And here's another genetically wondrous trait, this very round and muscular rear end. This is something I find absolutely irresistible. You see how the protrusion of this bottom creates a kind of shelf back here. Marvelous.
Because everyone always thinks he's a 5.
he definitely has a 5 fix somewhere, but I don't think it's a core 5.
Yeah, it's like, because I've noticed with some like seven guys, they're just so demanding and so like give me what I want, give me attention on me. And I can see him doing a lot of that, but given how
And I
gross.
I really don't see double 5. I think the 5 comes out most in his artwork, and that would make sense with a 4 fix.
Oh, that's a good point.
I don't think the 5 comes out too much in his actual personality. I feel like 7 definitely does though. Just that sort of like, and then the 2, it's weird because the 2 and the 7 are like contrasting each other, like where the 2 is kind of presents as like sort of creepy-ish exterior, or maybe it's creepy and motive. I don't know, but they kind of like push at each other. They're like basically, and it's like opposites on in when they come together. It's kind of interesting.
Because he does seem like a very childish, petulant child, sort of.
Gave me more confidence to get even more personal. That's when I started actually drawing like these crazy sexual fantasies and all that, which alienated half the population. All the women went away when I did that. Well, when I was young, I did comic strips about, that one angry strip about with the nuns in it, where the nuns want to chop off my penis. So that was like a more obvious reaction to being going to.
Oh my God. Like, I mean, I guess you could say like he's being a scientist, a sexual scientist, and that's where the 5's coming in. But like as an archetype, 6-wing 5 doesn't really work. Like there seems to be like, yeah, the 6 super ego and then the 7 gluttony. And I can see like there is 5 influence, but yeah, I think it might just be his heart. Because 4-wing 5 is like a kind of weird, gross heart. Like, and that's his image is like weird and gross. And then I don't know. I feel like I've hit a wall with this. Oh, you're on mute.
I said me too. I'm crashing a little bit.
Okay. So should we just like land on a here's what we think he is typing, or
I feel pretty confident about 1, 1, 2, 6, 7, 4, 5.
6-wing 7, 4-wing 5, 1-wing 2? Yeah, that kind of does make more sense actually, because then the 5 is like higher up.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
You were disgusting to type, Robert Crumb.